Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. And yeah, you read the title of the video and we're in a junkyard. Well, I figure a lot of people will mind that. There's a gun range in the background. So we're not being fired upon. So we are safe. Everybody does, you know, what not to buy videos. And that's good and all. And you show some stock photos of this car's not good to buy, etc., etc. I figured we go to a junkyard and I can show you exactly why you shouldn't buy some of these cars. Let's go. So in this video, I'm gonna do cars kind of around 2010 and up. You can find older cars in the junkyard, but they'll probably be there because they're older cars. So kind of harsh to judge them, but we're gonna start off today with this. The first car not to buy, third generation Ford Focus, automatic. Now, the thing is, these aren't terrible cars, except for the automatic. If you find these in manual, I really never heard any issues about the motor, but that right there, that's the problem. Now, when these came out, they didn't use a traditional automatic transmission. They used a DCT, or kind of like a DSG transmission. It is a manual internals, so it's got all the gears that look like a manual, but it's controlled by a computer. But these were an absolute atrocity. It's underneath this whole area here. You can see it. That's the bad guy. And right next to it actually is a Fiesta, which had the same kind of transmission with the same kind of problem. Both two cars, I'm gonna group them into one. Don't buy these. Ford actually had a pretty big lawsuit. And I remember I had my Fiesta, I had a 2016 ST, had a manual, didn't have this problem. They were sending me like lawsuit letters like, oh, have you been affected? Ford did not want to fix your problem. We can go for a lawsuit. I'm like, dude, just look at the VIN. I got a manual. I don't think Ford has ever really fixed this problem. I think they've just patched this problem and just kind of kicked the ball down the road. And they don't make the Focus in America anymore. These are super cheap on Marketplace and even like a used car dealer, but you're gonna obtain a headache. They're crazy expensive to fix. Usually you're replacing modules that are thousands of dollars. The unit's thousands of dollars, and it'll only last for a little bit before it's back on the road, bucking and doing all this crazy stuff because the transmission doesn't want to act normal. So don't buy this. Next car on this list, and yes, it is an older car, but they've made these until 2010, is the PT Cruiser. Now, these are just synonymous for junk. Ask anybody who's ever, you know, been around or owned a PT Cruiser. Not good cars at all. It's just a surprise. They made these things till 2010. What year is this one? Oh, it doesn't say. I'm not gonna. Oh, wait, right here. 07, yeah. This came out, I think, 01 until like 2010. Yeah, look at that. I don't even think this is, well, it's probably been tapped, but still. This one's actually not terrible, I guess, for 2007. It's still kind of worn in. Usually they're much worse. I mean, look at that. That's Chrysler build quality for you. But these things had severe problems with overheating, terrible suspension issues. Just never can get them right. I don't know if this has any play. No, not really. But they would go at every probably 30,000 miles like the Caliber. And just look at this. Look how tight it is to work on this. You gotta do a radiator. You gotta, I think, do it from the bottom or the front. It has to kind of come off. Just a pain. There's no room in there. It's honestly a surprise they sold these things for so long. I think at one point it was like, buy a Caravan, get a PT Cruiser free. I'll have to look that up, but I think that was a promotion in some Chrysler dealerships. Well, town car, PT Cruiser, you get the idea. Now, the kind of cool, not so redeeming factor about these PT Cruisers is they share the same platform as the Neon. So the SRT4 actually came in one of these. I mean, I would say that, but it's mostly a... It was the Touring, the Turbo Edition. So the motor and everything fit right in there. And they could be fun. It's still weird. It's still a crappy PT Cruiser, but that's maybe a slight redeeming quality of these things. Still, in total, piece of junk, turbo or not, don't buy a PT Cruiser. Next up on the list is the grandchild of the PT Cruiser, the Dart. And yeah, these were just never a hit. Now, this is a Fiat kind of clone. I believe it's off of the Alfa Romeo Giulietta, but it comes from that same type of family, Italian made, but still with the same Chrysler problems. These had the automatic. I think this is an automatic. Had a similar DSG. They rode like crap. These were kind of early DSGs. I think Volkswagen, as hard as I am on Well, Vita, they got the DSG pretty good. I've driven a GTI with one, and it's like, it knows what it's doing. It has like a mind of its own. You tip in, you want it to downshift. It doesn't really want to, it holds it. Anyway, they do better. These are junk. These motors, and I think it's the turbo. I think both of them actually. I had a friend who worked in Chrysler at the time when these things came out, said they like to consume oil. And I think if they drop a quart low, you take a turn, the oil sloshes to one side of the turn, it will shut off the car. Computer picks up that it does not have any oil in it, and it will shut off. These things consume oil. They were swarmed with problems from the get-go. And of course it has Chrysler build quality. So what is up with all these doors? People didn't take care of these cars. They were so cheap. I mean, this one, you know, these things are still so new. People are picking parts off them because I guess there's still a lot of them on the road. I really don't see too many, but yeah, just it smells, that has that Chrysler smell to it, almost that new car Chrysler smell. It's kind of weird. This one has the key on it. Just, it looks good until you really kind of, you know, it's hard to judge a junkyard car because people have, you know, been through it. But yeah, these were a miss. These were not good cars. Oh, and it's already been rebuilt, or was going to. So yeah, Dodge Dart. Oh, there's also one right there. No, not good. Don't buy. Next on the list, right next to the Dart, convenient for me, the Hyundai Sonata, this generation. I forget what they span, but yeah, it's 2013. We'll go around that area. Do not get this car. Now, actually going to review the Dart, I had to trip over like 16 of these to get to this area, but I figured I'd do this in order of where I had it listed. But yeah, as you can hear from me, the junkyard is littered with these things. Sonatas, Optimas, same thing. The problem with these things is they also like to consume oil. Stupid me, back in the day, told my aunt when these were new to buy them. Well, Hyundais are looking great now. Heard good things about them. She's since moved on and gave that car to my cousin, who is abusing it, wanting it to die. Somehow it's not dying, but it's not a good car. It's not taking the abuse well. Like the Dart, these have oil consumption issues with the motors. I really don't think they last very long. On my aunt's, now my cousin's, he had to go through a motor at just under 100,000 miles before the warranty was running out. And I don't know if anybody's ever owned a Hyundai, a problematic Hyundai. They have to fight with them. They say 10-year, 100,000 mile warranty. They will fight you tooth and nail not to get it done. So just be mindful of buying a Hyundai. And while I'll say the interior quality was slightly better than the Dart, it's still, I mean, cracked dash here in Florida is nothing too uncommon for anything. This thing's been dusty, sitting in the dust. Yeah, things do fall off. Actually, on the leather back seats where the headrests are on my cousins, they burned like from the heat from the sun. So maybe not so good build quality, but yeah, these things are still on the road by the plenty and in the junkyard also by plenty. Now, what's interesting with Hyundai and Kia is if you needed something, say a starter, I'll show you. For convenience sake, we have a starter right here. I think this is the one off the car. You can go and buy yourself a full new unit from Hyundai, but it will cost you a lot of money. I think these are like $250, $300, something ridiculous. But they also give you the option from the dealer to rebuild it. You could take off the starter, remove the stator, and change everything in the starter so you can reuse your starter. You just rebuild it. I had to do that on my father-in-law. He has a Kia van, and the door actuator, the whole full actuator was like $150 for this little thing, plug and play. Or you could replace the motor inside, which was the problem, and it was like $15. So that's interesting. It can be helpful. It can be a pain when buying Hyundais or Kias, but if you see one of these for sale, stay away. Now, next up and last up isn't really a car. It's more of a motor, and that is the Honda Pilots, Honda Odysseys, Ridgelines, and some Accords, I believe, Cross Tours, anything basically with the Honda V6 with VCM. Now, that one was an 06, and they have different generation VCMs. Now, I kind of lost my list when it comes to VCMs because they use all different generations. The years don't really match all together in the same V6s, but I know for a fact this 09 Pilot right here is a culprit. You gotta watch out for this. I'll give you a better demonstration with the cylinder heads off. Someone was clearly in this because they probably were experiencing some VCM issues. Now with VCM, what it does, it's kind of a variable cylinder management. I think that's the actual word for it. When you're cruising on highway speeds, kind of, you guys are familiar with the LSs, Old GM systems in the Cadillacs will do cylinder deactivation. So you're doing 80, you're cruising on the highway, doing 70, wherever. You don't really need all the power in the world. You're just cruising. You want to maintain speed. So the computer will disconnect, I guess you can say, shut off cylinders from power. So it'll remove fuel. Well, Honda's was messed up in a way where it would lead to excessive oil consumption. It would destroy the piston rings, and oil would seep past here and get consumed. So you foul out spark plugs, you would consume oil, it would burn out the rings. I think you can even see some in the back as to where, well, that's just water in there, but it's kind of dusty. And some of them you can see where there's actual staining from the oil and whatnot. And it would ruin these motors. It would also ruin torque converters too. I forget exactly how it would do that, but it was something with power. When it switched into full power, it would jolt the torque converter. Now they do have VCM deleters in all various different generations, and some generations are better than others, but in 09, I'm going a little bit back from 010 because they did span up. There's a whole list. Let's see if I can print out a list, and I'll put the list here of which ones to watch out for. But watch out when buying a V6 Pilot and Odyssey and all the other ones that may have these VCMs. Other than that, the cars are not so bad. Other cars are not so bad. This one's a little worse for wear, but everything else is Honda. So that's the appeal to it. People that don't know these issues about these Hondas, they go and they say, oh, this is reliable, it's a Honda. You know, like this is gonna last 100, 200,000 miles. And technically, this one's a little dirty, but this is held up nice. Honda has good quality other than a child chewing at the armrest. But that's your parenting skills. That's not Honda's fault. Here's another example of a bad VCM vehicle. This is a 2014 Odyssey. It's pretty new. These all hold up pretty well. They look newer, but this is still in here for probably that problem. Now, you can, if you do come across a low mile VCM vehicle, there is things called foolers or deleters. What they do is, and I think it's on this one, it's a plug that goes somewhere, I think near thermostat housing. Let me see if I can get up there. Now, someone might correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there's this plug right here, and that reads your coolant temp sense and sends it right to the computer. What these plugs do is they jump in between and they fool the computer to say, hey, we're not at operating temperature just yet. We're just about there, but we're not that. So what the computer will say is, oh no, we can't do this while the vehicle's cold. Let's just run it in 6-cylinder all the time. And that will save the car. But I wouldn't go about doing that with a car that has excessive miles. If you can find something low mileage, that $50, $60 jumper, that'll save you. And these cars will be pretty good. Just like with every Honda. Watch out for that transmission. Oh, goodness. Those are a lot of solenoids. So yeah, that is 5 of plenty of vehicles that you shouldn't buy that make their residence in the junkyard. If you like these type of videos, comment, subscribe, let me know you want to see more. I have plenty of junkyards near me with plenty of problematic cars, and hopefully help you out with your next purchase. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.